What's good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. I'm trying to convince myself that this is the new norm. We have to convince ourselves, if we're quote-unquote true fans of the Joe Budden podcast, that they're going in a new direction, and we have to get acclimated with all of these new guests, new interviews, new artists. Joe is a part of the press run package now, except he is the one getting paid. He doesn't have to pay people to appear on his podcast. Early on when you start, like if I was to start getting interviews, people would try to charge me, or I would pay for people to appear on it because I need them in order to bolster all of my views, all of my retention rates. I would be the one benefiting the most from it. But Joe is in the position to where he's the one that gets paid and the artists are the one that get all the views and benefits from it. Especially if they're lower tier artists. And I'm not saying JID or JID, whatever he goes by, or Ace Hood or lower tier artists. I'm just saying in general. But they hit us with a 2-for-1 today. I know there was a lot of people complaining in the Patreon comments, talking about this isn't what we pay for. Unfortunately, it's not up to us to decide. And I make videos speaking about how much I wish they would change and alter on the pod. Some of the suggestions they've taken, most of them they laugh at. So I'm trying to convince myself that this is the new norm. As a result of that, I would have absolutely skipped past this interview in the past. But now I'm trying to give them a chance. And I actually watched the whole thing. Shout out to Jid. He's actually a cool, likable, affable person. And that's what you're trying to showcase whenever you're doing an interview, possibly to an audience that you haven't reached yet. So shout out to him for that. It's a good look. Ace Hood, I don't know what's going on with Ace Hood. So this is a big look for him, but what was the point of him coming up to the JBP? Album? Yeah, I guess. And this is a music pod, so we have to realize a lot of musical guests are going to come on the pod. Because initially, Joe was calling these people, and we were excited when Joe used to call these people and they would pick up, and then they'd have a conversation. It just seemed more natural. Now that we know he's a part of the press package, we don't know if the interview is going to be natural or if it's just going to be them on promotion mode. So, unfortunately, that's something that we got to pay attention to. But I did want to speak on something else. Somebody brought Nick Cannon up to my attention, and it's because Melissa was on the pod. So I watched the pod. I was like, all right, bet. It wasn't longer than an hour, so it was a quick watch. Shout out to Melissa. She's always more open on other interviews, and she's going on a little run her own. We haven't been shouting her out because we always clown on Melissa. It's easy to just clown on Melissa. But she was on tonight's conversation. She was just fucking with Nick Cannon. She's doing her own thing on Hot and Bothered. She's been going on her guest runs, and it's not the same for Melissa. The same thing that I just attributed to quote-unquote smaller pods is the same thing that's happening with Melissa. Now, is she paying these people? I don't know. I doubt it because she has relationships with these people already. So it's helping her. But she is benefiting from the guest pods or the guest runs because she's an up-and-coming podcast. But shout out to her. She's been on a little run. I wonder what she has up her sleeve as a result of this. But I say all that to say this. Nick Cannon only has 6,000 subs on YouTube. Yet surprisingly, I have more sub and movement than Nick Cannon. But this is where you're supposed to strike, Joe. Could you imagine the cachet that you would receive if you were able to get a Nick Cannon under your belt? And of course, the contract that you come up with a Nick Cannon wouldn't be the same that you have with your current co-host. 50-50 split would be beautiful for you. All you want from this is the cachet that Nick's name brings. So if I was you, Joe, or Ian, I would absolutely reach out to Nick Cannon. And I'd also reach out to all these other up-and-coming, well, not up-and-coming, but people that have cachet already, but they're just now step foot into the podcast game. Because the way I'm looking at Nick Cannon and how he brought everyone up on Wild 'N Out, that's what you're supposed to be doing right now with the podcast game. But you have to, it's got to be a different type of deal. With all the people with all the namesake, you got to convince them to get an equity stake in Patreon or something. But if you can get Nick Cannon under the JBP umbrella, that would bolster everything, and you have to get him while he's at the bottom. So shout out to everybody that contributes as far as bringing outside content to my attention. Like, I would have never seen this come up online, especially since YouTube is fickle. If you don't have over 15, 20,000 subscribers, they're rarely just going to put you on somebody's home feed. So I had to look for that bad boy, and this is the time to strike when people are having to search for it as opposed to it just showing up on the algorithm. But if I take my bias glasses off, because at heart I'm a real JBP fan, I don't like guests. I'm just going to be honest. And if you're like the old me or the current me that has his bias glasses on, you could skip this pod. I'm just going to be honest with you. But if you're open to hearing from people that you have no idea who they are, then this is actually a decent pod. If I had to give it an unbiased rating, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. It just sucks knowing that they have all these mics up there and it's only 2 or 3 people contributing to the interview. Of course, Joe is, because he's the namesake. But Parks, whenever these musical artists come, he shines because he pays attention to the album. You can tell when he likes an artist or not, or when he fucks with an artist, because he's all the way into the interview asking questions that the artist wants to answer, so it keeps the interview going forward. And Ice, he's the main one that I say has the musical takes outside of Joe, but whenever a musical guest is there, he doesn't shine in the interview. So that's weird, and that's something that we got to pay attention to. But it's weird that we have all these mics up there, but they're either giddy because of the status of the guests, or they're just unprepared because they're not asking questions at all. They're not participating. I didn't even know Imani was there. He might have shown up later, but I didn't even know Imani was there until damn near the end of the episode. So I don't know. Maybe that's on me, and I gotta take my my bias glasses off. But y'all let me know in the comments how y'all felt about the episode if you watched it. Do y'all care that we're getting all of the guest-based interviews on Patreon? Is that a big deal to y'all? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Like the video if you like the video, though. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you have, you already know how we rocking. You already know what it is, man. Hey, y'all showed up for your boy. I ain't even gonna hold you. Y'all showed up for your boy. I did not think y'all were gonna come out in full force last night. I put 2 videos up at like 10 o'clock. The second one, it didn't do what it was supposed to do, but that's my fault because I was really just trying to test the algorithm and trying to test to see if y'all was up, and a lot of y'all showed up full force. So I appreciate y'all, and we're just gonna keep testing new things. Either way it goes, it's gonna mean more content for y'all. So y'all keep supporting the page like y'all have, and your boy's just gonna keep producing. It is what it is, man. I'll see y'all a little later today. Peace.